and welcome to the Edmonds Community College pregame show. Tonight's matchup, the Redmond Mustangs are visiting Edmonds Stadium to take on the Meadowdale Mavericks, and with me right now, the head coach of Meadowdale, Matt Leonard. Coach Leonard, Friday night last week, season opener, not quite the results you wanted. You lose a tough one to Monroe. Tell me a little bit about what you've been working on this week in practice, getting ready for not only Redmond, but for the rest of the season.
Yeah, last week we played a team that's pretty good, and we made them look really good by not being very sound. So we kind of went back to the drawing board, back to the basics of, a 10-minute pursuit drill every day, running to the football, finishing drills, finishing plays. We always kind of do thud tempo in practice to stay healthy, and we said, forget that. We're going to be more physical, tackle to the ground, play through the whistle. Had kids grade themselves in film, on our game against Monroe, and they pretty quickly figured out what the message was, that we weren't playing well enough with a good enough effort all the way through the whistle to be successful against a good team. And so we kind of went back to the basics and attacked the small stuff, and that's what we've been doing.
I know the first quarter, a much different game. You were ahead with, 15 seconds to go in the quarter. I've got to think there were a few positives in there to take away as well. Tell me a little bit about some of the good things that might have come out of a 55-9 loss, not a lot, but there might have been one or two things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had a hard time starting last year. We always were kind of down in the first quarter, battled our way back, and so we started out the gates really quickly, got a 3-and-out, forced 2 turnovers against them, had a big scoring play, and then we played really well in the first quarter. That we give up the kick return with 15 seconds to go in the first quarter, but up to that point we'd pretty much outplayed them and kind of done what we'd wanted to do in that first period, which was survive the first quarter, play well, play with the lead, and then let our guys settle in.
What is the one thing you want to work on the most this week that you'd like to see out of your team tonight that didn't happen last Friday, besides the score?
Yeah, match physical play. They finished every play. They played to the whistle and a little bit slightly after, which is kind of what you want to do. There's nothing cheap or dirty about what they were doing. They were just finishing plays, and we didn't do that, and we needed to do that, and so we've really focused this week on finishing plays and being physical and playing through the whistle and kind of match that intensity.
So again, a loss to Monroe. We've got Redmond tonight, though, so clean slate, new game. We're going to talk to Coach a little bit about the game tonight and what to expect from the Mavericks and the Mustangs. But right now we're going to take a quick break. Once again, you are watching the Edmonds Community College pregame show.
Edmonds Community College. Join Edmonds CC in celebrating its 50th anniversary at its celebration kickoff event Friday, September 16th, starting at 4 p.m. on Triton Field. For more information, go to www.edcc.edu/50.
Welcome back to the Edmonds Community College pregame show. Once again, I am with Matt Leonard, the head football coach at Meadowdale. Coach, Redmond Mustangs tonight, a team that you might know a little bit about already. At the very least, you know the coaches, right?
Yeah, I do. Their head coach is a childhood friend of mine. We grew up together. He's a year older than me in school. Played on a playoff team together, coached together for a few years, and so I've known him since I think I was about 6 years old. So we go a long ways back.
And I'm guessing you might know some of his coaches as well?
I do. His defensive coordinator was our defensive coordinator when we coached together. His running backs coach was our running backs coach. His outside linebackers coach was our outside linebackers coach. His box guy was our box guy when we coached together at Interlake. So there's 6 guys on that staff, and then my running back coach here at Meadowdale. We all coached for 2 years together there at Interlake. So it's going to be a fun pregame until the whistle snaps.
Now, I've got to think that leads to a little bit of a chess match. You kind of know their personnel, they know yours, or at the very least you know schemes, you know what the coaches like to do, what they like to run. Has that been something that's been talked about this week a lot in practice or in game film?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not one of those guys that kind of lets the sweep stuff under the rug and don't talk about it. I told him, I said, Jason and I are really good friends. We talk all the time. We talk scheme. We've shared film with each other to kind of tell us what you think about each other before we knew we were going to play each other. They do a lot in their back end with their coverages, and we throw the ball a lot, and Jason calls their defense, and I call our offense. And so he knows what I like to do. I know what he likes to do. And so it's kind of funny, how much do you try to out-scheme him, or how much you just do what you do and see what they react? But it'll be interesting. We were texting back and forth yesterday, so he's kind of playing coy a little bit, talking about, oh, we're good, and don't worry about Monroe. It's a tough barometer. I know him better than that. They're going to be ready for us.
And I've got to ask, too, is it coincidental that you two are going head-to-head tonight, or was that something that was already predetermined? Did you two have anything to do with that schedule?
I did. When we filled out our forms of teams we want to play, we matched with Kinko and Westco North, and I put Redmond down. I thought it'd be really fun. I know they're really, really well coached. Their scheme's going to be good. It's, I'm not a fan of playing cupcake week 1, week 2 games because it doesn't help you. It doesn't expose you. Monroe exposed us and made us better as a staff. And I know he'll do the same thing. He's going to attack us differently with more coverage-based stuff instead of pressure-based stuff like Monroe did. But I definitely wanted the challenge. And for bragging rights, we're both Bothell alums. We both, all the Bothell games, state championship games, coaches get-togethers, players get-togethers. We get together and people ask, what if you guys played, who would win? And both obviously
get to find out.
We both obviously say we'd win, but we'll get to find out tomorrow or tonight. Yeah.
So it's Kinko 4A versus Westco, a Redmond team that didn't get as many wins as they would have liked last year. But how much of that do you attribute to the team? How much is that attributed to just how tough Kinko is?
Well, Kinko 4A is the toughest league out there. I don't care what anybody says. Week to week, you could go Bothell, Mount Si, Woodinville, Skyline, Eastlake, Newport. That's 6 in a row of playoff teams. Issaquah, they're just loaded. Every single team there, every year there's a Kinko team in the state championship game. And so week in and week out, they don't get any breaks in their schedule. So for them, I'm sure their message is, hey, we respect Meadowdale. They've got good players and they've got a good staff, but it's not Skyline or Bothell or Eastlake or, the teams that they've been going against.
Now, you've had a chance to watch a little tape on Redmond. Obviously, we talked about you knowing the coaching staff. Tell me a little bit about the team itself. What are they looking like?
They're so sound. I've coached with Jason. His attention to detail is something that is just kind of like watching a painter at work. He doesn't miss anything. Any snap, any play. He'll be watching the O-line and he'll see that the wide receiver misstepped. He doesn't miss anything, and so he's so good, so detailed. You're not going to fool him. We've told our kids all week, we're not going to fool them. We're not going to beat them in a blown coverage. We're not going to see them in man coverage and run by them. They're going to be gap sound, scheme sound, and play us really tough. They're going to try to grind the football out. I think they're going to try to limit our possessions because they know we're a pretty potent offense when we're playing better than last week. And so you just know that challenge is going to be great. That they're not going to give the game away. We're going to have to win it.
So when you and Jason are walking off the field tonight, win or lose, is there a long conversation? Do you shake hands really quick and call each other later that night? What is that like between two coaches who are not only head coaches but are also friends?
I don't know. I have never been in that situation. I'm such a competitive guy that I don't tend to make the best of friends with opponents. I want to beat people and I want to beat them bad. I'll be gracious in loss or defeat, but I don't know. I think he's a much more gracious guy than I am. So I think win or lose, he'll give me a big hug and tell me our kids played great. If we lose, I'll probably give him a hug and walk away and call him later. So we'll see. I don't know.
So again, the Mavericks, the Mustangs, two horses, right? Yeah. Going at it tonight. It should be a great game. These two coaches, win or lose, they'll still be friends. But again, Matt Leonard, always a pleasure talking with
Absolutely.
You. Thank you very much. Best of luck tonight for Meadowdale, and we are hoping that we are talking about a victory later on this evening. We're going to take a break right now. Once again, you've been watching the Edmonds Community College pregame show. Coming up next, Meadowdale and Redmond right here on the Sound Alive Sports Network.